The world shattered around young Kaela. Fires raged, consuming her village. Screams pierced the night. She was ripped from her mother's arms, a terrified child caught in a tide of brutality. Iron shackles replaced the warmth of her mother's embrace. Kaela, along with countless others, was now a slave. Herded like cattle, they began the agonizing march to a life she could never have imagined. Kaela's spirit, though young, refused to break. She clung to the memory of her family, their love a flickering ember in the encroaching darkness. Each day was a blur of toil and misery. The sun beat down on her back as she labored in the fields, her young hands blistered and raw. At night she huddled with other slaves, sharing stories and whispers of hope. The other slaves, hardened by years of suffering, saw a spark in Kaela. Her spirit, though wounded, remained unbroken. They nurtured that spark, sharing tales of their ancestors, of a time before chains and whips. These stories, passed down through generations, spoke of freedom, of warriors who fought for justice. Kaela listened with rapt attention, her heart swelling with a desire for a life beyond the shackles. She vowed that she would not merely survive, but rise above. She would fight for her freedom and the freedom of her people. This vow became her armor, her shield against despair. Years blurred into an endless cycle of hardship. Yet Kaela grew stronger. She observed her captors, learning their weaknesses. She trained in secret, her young body hardening under the harsh sun. Every stolen moment was a chance to hone her skills, to prepare for the day she would reclaim her destiny. One day, a whisper ran through the slave quarters. Eryndor, the tyrannical warlord who held them captive, was seeking new servants. It was a chance, however perilous, to get closer to the heart of their oppression. Kaela, though afraid, saw an opportunity. She volunteered. Stepping into Eryndor's fortress was like entering the belly of a beast. Towers scraped the sky, a monument to his cruelty. The air hung heavy with the stench of fear and suffering. Kaela, her head held high, refused to cower. She would be a shadow, observing, learning, waiting for the moment to strike. Eryndor was a brute of a man, his eyes cold and calculating. He saw in Kaela a quiet strength, a spirit that refused to be subdued. He chose her to serve him personally, a decision that would shape both their destinies. Kaela tended to his needs, always vigilant, her mind working tirelessly. She studied his habits, learned the layout of the fortress, and committed every detail to memory. Serving Eryndor was a dangerous game. One wrong move could mean death. Kaela navigated his volatile temper with a cunning that belied her years. She learned to anticipate his needs, becoming indispensable. All the while, she never forgot who she was or why she was there. Eryndor, a seasoned warrior himself, recognized Kaela's latent potential. He saw in her a keen mind and a surprising resilience. One day, on a whim, he ordered her to spar with his guards. It was a test, a cruel amusement, but Kaela surprised him. She fought with a ferocity born of years of suppressed rage. Impressed, Eryndor made a fateful decision. He would train Kaela as his own personal warrior. He saw her as a tool, a weapon to be honed and wielded. He underestimated the fire that burned within her. Kaela embraced the training, pushing herself to her limits. She mastered the sword and the spear, her body becoming a weapon forged in the fires of her determination. Kaela excelled in her training, surpassing even Eryndor's expectations. He reveled in her skill, boasting of his new weapon. He remained oblivious to the fire that burned beneath her cool exterior, the fire of rebellion. As Kaela's skills grew, so did her network of allies. She used her position to move freely within the fortress, whispering messages of hope to her fellow slaves. She stole weapons, stashing them in hidden compartments, preparing for the inevitable uprising. Her nights were no longer spent in fear, but in hushed planning. She became a beacon of hope, a symbol of defiance against their tyrannical ruler. The other slaves, inspired by Kaela's bravery, flocked to her cause. They whispered plans under the cover of darkness, their spirits reignited by the promise of freedom. Kaela, the once terrified girl, had become a leader, her spirit a rallying cry for the oppressed. Section 5. The storm breaks. The time for whispers was over. The rebellion, meticulously planned and fueled by righteous fury, erupted on a moonless night. Kaela, armed and fearless, led the slaves in a symphony of chaos. The fortress, once a symbol of their oppression, echoed with the sounds of battle. Kaela moved like a wraith, her sword a silver flash against the darkness. She cut down guards, her every move precise and deadly. The slaves, emboldened by her courage, fought with the fury of a people long denied their freedom. The fortress ran red with blood, a testament to the brutal reality of their struggle. Eryndor, awoken by the sounds of battle, emerged from his chambers, rage contorting his features. He roared in fury as he saw his fortress under siege, his eyes searching for the one responsible for this uprising. His gaze fell upon Kaela, her face illuminated by the flickering torchlight. Eryndor charged towards Kaela, his face a mask of betrayal and fury. Their blades clashed in a deadly dance, a whirlwind of steel and fury. Kaela, smaller but quicker, parried his blows, her movements honed by years of training. The other slaves watched with bated breath, the outcome of this duel determining their fate. The clash of steel echoed through the courtyard, a deadly ballet illuminated by firelight. Kaela fought with the strength of a cornered animal, her every move fueled by years of repressed rage. Eryndor, used to easy victories, found himself on the back foot, his blows increasingly desperate. With a final desperate lunge, Eryndor overextended. Kaela seized her chance. Her blade flashed, a silver arc in the firelight. Eryndor stumbled back, a look of disbelief etched on his face. He collapsed, his reign of terror finally at an end. Silence descended upon the courtyard. The slaves, their faces a mixture of shock and elation, looked upon their fallen oppressor. Kaela stood above him, her sword dripping with blood, her chest heaving. She looked out at the faces of her people, their eyes filled with a newfound hope. The chains that had bound them for so long were finally broken. With Eryndor's tyranny shattered, a new era dawned. The slaves, once accustomed to bowing their heads, now stood tall. They looked to Kaela, their liberator, their queen. She had not sought power, but it had been thrust upon her. She accepted the mantle of leadership, knowing that her journey was far from over. The task before her was daunting. Rebuilding from the ashes of tyranny would be a long and arduous journey. But Kaela was not daunted. She had faced down her fears, stared death in the face, and emerged victorious. She would lead her people with the same courage and compassion that had guided her through the darkness. Kaela's reign was marked by wisdom and justice. She tore down the structures of oppression, replacing them with laws that guaranteed equality and fairness. The scars of slavery ran deep, but under her guidance, her people began to heal. She built schools and hospitals, nurturing the minds and bodies of her people. Kaela, known throughout the land as the Lionheart Queen, became a symbol of hope, not just for her own people, but for the oppressed everywhere. Her legend spread far and wide, carried on the wings of the wind. She was a beacon of light, a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to fight for freedom. Years later, long after Kaela drew her last breath, her stories continued to be told. Mothers would whisper her name to their children, instilling in them the values of courage and compassion. She became a legend, a myth, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can bloom. The tale of Kaela, the slave girl who became queen, serves as a timeless reminder that even in the face of insurmountable odds, the human spirit can triumph. Her journey from the depths of despair to the pinnacle of power is a testament to the power of resilience, courage, and an unwavering belief in freedom. Generations would pass, yet her name would continue to resonate, a whisper of hope echoing through the ages. Kaela's legacy lived on, not just in the monuments erected in her honor, but in the hearts of her people. She had shown them that freedom was not a gift, but a right worth fighting for, a right worth dying for. And so, the legend of Kaela, the warrior queen, was passed down through generations, a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness, a timeless reminder that even the smallest spark can ignite a revolution. Her story, forever etched in the annals of history, served as an inspiration to all who dared to dream of a better world.